Hello, my name is Iana Sundari. I lost my mother to breast cancer when I was 27 and my father to brain cancer when I was 31. And I was a caregiver for both for over a decade. And when I think about my own grief journey, I don't think that I can separate it from being a Black woman. I think that grief is something that you carry and that you can't escape from. I think being Black in America is so linked to survival, and it's something that you also can't walk away from. I think that this culture, the American Black culture, we don't sit with our grief. We don't tend to give ourselves permission to sit in our pain. And so there's a certain amount of what I call weaponizing positivity, and whether that's through faith, through our church, through family, there is a lot of they're in a better place now, they're with God now for some of us. There's a lot of they're no longer in pain, so you should be happy. I think there's a lot of things that are said in our culture that don't allow you to fully heal the way that you need to. I think there's also a level of when you are Black, specifically in America, you are trying so hard to not just survive physically, right? Which we know when it comes to police brutality, when it comes to the racists that roam our country right now, but also when it comes to our socioeconomic survival, and that for us, there often isn't the ability to step off the wheel and to say, you know what, I'm going to take months to handle this. A lot of times, specifically Black women are raising children and families alone. We as Black people, whether we are running companies or at the heads of companies, we still know that we have to keep going, that we can't take a break, that we can't stop, because we have always been taught that we have to do more and to be better in order to be accepted as the same. I think when you pair that with grief, again, we're not given the chance to stop. And to sit with ourselves and to hear what our body and what our mind needs. And I think it's important that we begin to, as a community, recognize that that silence, that stop, that pause is completely and totally necessary. For me, chanting is a way that I've found I'm able to move through emotions in my body. I think when we look at the correlation between emotional pain and physical pain, we have to recognize that a lot of the health issues in the Black community stem from emotional wounds and trauma not yet dealt with. I think when we're not dealing with ourselves internally, it feeds into other things. It feeds into physical health. It feeds into us not eating well, right? Us not moving well. I think that we have to recognize the extent to which stress does damage to the body, and as a community, stop thinking that therapy or that slow, gentle practices meant to bring out pain are for white people. These things are also for us also. Healing is for us also. So chanting for me is a way to heal. It's a way for me to get quiet and to breathe. I often find that just making that vocal sound, allowing myself to make a noise and to not feel restricted, sometimes moves tears out of the body. And no one said that healing was fun, right? It is painful. And sometimes we like to run from pain. And the truth is, the only way to get through grief is to truly sit in it sometimes. And so there is a chant, Om Namah Shivaya, that has been one of those chants that becomes my sounding call for when I feel things are bubbling up and I need to move things out. It is translated in many different ways. It's a Sanskrit prayer from the Hindu faith, and it means I bow to Shiva, Shiva being a god. And in a way, it's often translated as I bow to myself. And it's a way of recognizing that we matter, that I matter, and that it is important for me to honor myself if I'm ever going to be able to take care of other people or to move forward in peace. And so we'll just take a few breaths. You don't have to be a great singer. You don't have to know all of the words. If you are just breathing and quiet and silent for a moment, and even just to allow yourself to hear this chant, you're doing something different. You're moving energy in the body. So we'll begin. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namah Om. Shivaya Namah Om. Shivaya Namah Om. Namah Om Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Find yourself a quiet place. Chant that to yourself. Bow to yourself. Being Black is a beautiful, hard journey in this country. Grief is a hard, hard journey, no matter where you are. And it's important to recognize the work required to be in both, and the silence required to navigate how to peacefully move through both. Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste.